Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art, and today is day 77 of 365 days of junk journal ideas, where I teach you guys how to make a different piece of ephemera for a junk journal every day throughout this year of 2025. So we're on day 77. Today we are going to make a 12 by 12 single sheet project. I don't know what else to call it other than a multi-pocket. You guys can call it whatever you want in the comments below. Let's have a little naming contest for this project. It probably exists somewhere out there. I haven't seen it. I don't know. I was just folding 12 by 12 and figured out how to make this. So it's a pretty easy project. We're going to be using one 12 by 12. However, because I'm working on 3 journals, I need to make 3 of these. So, and I will tell you, for this project, using 2 different sheets of 12 by 12 is kind of nice, because some of the cut up pieces that you use are going to be pockets, and it might be nice to have 2 different patterns to play with. So while this project will only need one 12 by 12, it is nice if you want to make 2 at a time and then swap the little pocket pieces. That'll make a lot more sense here in a minute. But let's go ahead and begin with this guy. So this is the one I'm going to use for accent pockets. I have already cut up one of these, and so let's do this next one. This guy here, these are 12 by 12 of the Tim Holtz limited edition release from the vault of the Wallflower paper pack, and I'm doing botanical journals, so this was timed perfectly for me. You're going to begin by selecting which part of your paper is north. My paper has direction to it, so the north part is up here at the top for me. I just want to make sure I'm aware of that as I go. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put it into the cutter. Now, I'm not going to cut this. I am, in fact, going to score it. If you've been with me a little while, you know that I just use my cutting thing for scoring. And I'm going to score this at 4 inches and 8 inches. So every 4 inches, you'll score at 4 and 8 if you have a traditional scoreboard. So I'm just going to flip mine around and score at 4 and score at 4. So you made 3 channels down your 12 by 12 that are 4 inches apart. So your paper is going to have, I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. There's one score line right here, and here is another score line over here. You guys can't really see, but they're there, I promise you. Okay, so this is double-sided cardstock, which is obviously, helpful in this project. So we scored at 4 inches and we scored at 4 inches. Now we're going to turn our paper the opposite direction. So we were north and south. We are now going to turn our cardstock the opposite direction after scoring at 4 and 4. And we're going to score the bottom part of our cardstock first. And we're going to score that at, where am I going to score that? At 4 inches. I had to think about that. We're going to score that at 4 inches. So far everything has been scored at 4 inches. Perfect. And then we're gonna, you don't have to flip yours around. If your cutter can do it at 2, then do it at 2. So you scored the bottom part at 4, and now we're gonna score the top part at 2. I will try to ink these score lines so that you guys will be able to see them better. And so let me see here. We're gonna fold this guy down. So this is the north part, the top part of my 12 by 12, because mine is directional. We're going to fold that guy down. And in fact, I'm going to fold him back the other way and just run a line of inking. Now this paper is grungy, but I'm going to run a line of inking right there. So hopefully you guys can see that. That's the 2-inch one. Okay. Then we're going to fold the bottom part, the south part, up. And that was our 4-inch one. It might be nicer to actually do it on this side. I don't want to do that because you'll see it too much. So we're going to fold it backwards, and I'll ink right here too, just to kind of show where that line is. So now you see the lines in there at least. And then from that side, we're going to fold in. And this is our 4-inch one. And so here is that. Just making sure you guys can see everything. There's the 4-inch on that side, and here is the 4-inch on this side. So now that you don't need to ink these, you really don't, but I'm doing it so that you guys can see. So we scored, this is the north part, the top of my page. We scored at 4, we scored at 4, we scored the bottom at 4, and we scored the top at 2. From here, we're going to cut. The inking does help with cutting, so it was kind of multi-purpose. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut off the left and the right panel across the top of the 2-inch section. So I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm going to be generous, and I'm going to cut on the opposite side of all of my fold lines. So I'm cutting off the fold. So there's 1, here's 2. So again, I'm cutting on the opposite side, the far away side of my fold line. This part does not have to be exact, and in fact, you probably will need to make an adjustment somewhere along the line. So we cut off the top left and right section. Now we're going to go to the bottom section, and the bottom section is a little more trickier. You're not going to, before we begin to that part, let's just cut up this way. It's easier. So you're going to cut on the inside. I don't know how to explain that. You're going to cut on the inside of this guy. The inside of the fold on that guy, because he's going to eventually fold up. And then from here, go ahead and fold him up and get him out of the way, because these next 2 sections, so this is the bottom of your paper, this across here is the bottom, you cut here and here to make this guy fold up. And then on these 2, you're going to cut them at a diagonal, but you need to make sure that you're cutting them at the right diagonal. So when these guys fold up, because eventually they will be folded up, you want to make sure that your pocket is here. So you're going to cut off this piece. So cut off the inside triangle for both of these pockets, because you want the pockets to come diagonal here and stay attached. So you're going to cut off the inside. So this is the outside, this is the outside. You're going to cut off the inside part of the triangle. So it's, if you want to put your finger there and hold it, it's these 2 right here. You're going to cut those ones off, meaning when I turn my paper to cut my diagonal, because this is a little bit tricky, right? When I cut my diagonal, I want to cut it so that this is gone and this makes a pocket. So hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully I didn't tell you the wrong way. I didn't. Okay, good. So we're going to cut this off now. I hope I didn't. At this point, it's okay. So you're going to take your scissors. There's no score line. There's nothing. You're going to take your scissors. Position that corner right inside of your cut blade. So you can see I've just clipped it right in my cut blade. I'm going to point the tip of my scissors to the other corner, the opposite corner. And you're just going to cut all the way to that corner and cut that off. So again, you want to cut off the inside corners. So I'm going to do that on this one too, so you guys will see it again. Here's where I want to cut it. I've got it with my finger. I know I want to cut it that way. Holding it, putting it in my scissor blade, just clipping it in there. Your scissors will hold it, and then position your blades to the opposite corner. These don't have to be exact. You can make them, a little bit off here or there is fine. And that one I did actually cut the wrong one. That's okay. It will still work out just fine. It's just not going to be as visually nice. And in fact, because I cut the wrong one and it will annoy me, I'm going to cut it off completely and reattach it over here. You want them to be, this one needs to be attached like this. You want them to be like this. Okay, I cut off the wrong one. It's fine if you do what I do and cut off the wrong one. Cut it off completely, and you're just going to glue it on as a corner pocket right there. No big deal. It works just fine. So from there, this is what you should have. You should have a top flap in the center section that is 2 inches. You should have a bottom flap in the center section that is 4 inches, from top to bottom 4 inches. And you should have 2 corner pockets that flip down like this. If you cut yours wrong, you'll have a loose one that you'll need to glue on completely. The point of leaving them connected is just so that this part right here did not need to be glued and you only needed to glue up the side. No big deal. So that's how that part looks. Now from there, if you're using just one 12 by 12, you're going to take all your little offcuts and you're going to turn these guys into pockets and little pieces that we're going to play with. If you're using one 12 by 12 and you want to stay just using the one, here's where your pockets are going to go. So if you glue this on like that, this corner here, you have options. You can place those other pieces anywhere. I'm just going to show you where I like placing them, okay? But that doesn't mean they have to be placed that way. You could take, I'm just going to show you all the options. You could take the corners and go ahead and put the corners on these flaps out here. So you'd have a corner on the outside and a corner on the inside. You could certainly do that. You could take these little offcuts, these little guys here, and place them, the little rectangle pieces that you took off your top, you could take them and place them on the outside. So you'd have a corner pocket and then you'd have a flip over part and then the corner, or the, oh my gosh, you'd have a corner pocket on the inside. I can't speak right now. You'd have a corner pocket on the inside, which I keep placing the wrong direction, I think. It goes like this. You'd have a corner pocket and then you'd put this one here. You could do that. You could also, so you're going to need, you're going to need at least all of these pieces that you have here. There are 5 pieces. You could also take one of these and put it down here. You could take one and put it in here. If you flipped it around the other way, you could do that. You could put it down here. Here's where I'm going to put mine. However, I'm not going to use these pieces. I'm going to use pieces from another coordinating piece of paper. But this is where I'm going to take mine. So I have 2 corner pieces. I'm going to place them to where they kind of make this little guy here. So it's a pocket all the way in the back. Do I have a tag? It's a pocket all the way in the back like this. And it's also a little pocket here on the side. So I'm going to take my 2 corners and I'm going to do that. That leaves me, this guy's really over here. That leaves me these 2 pieces. And I'm going to take one piece and put it, when this folds up, right here. And then I'm going to take the other one and put it, I have pieces sticking out everywhere. The other one I'm going to take, I can't get this to fold right now. The other one I'm going to take and put right here. So I'm going to have 3 of my 5 pieces right on this middle section. I'm going to have 2. This is becoming a mess of a video. There's 2 right here. This guy folds up. This guy goes here on the outside of that. This guy will always be flapped down, and we're going to do a little circle closure here to keep him closed, and he's going to be on the inside. You're going to have this little corner guy. That just threw me off the whole entire way. You're going to have this little corner guy right here. It's going to fold in. You're going to have a little pocket right here. This is eventually going to fold over. I'm not going to force it right now because we need to do some work to get that to work. So sometimes when you make a project like this and you're using cardstock, like this is a cardstock, you need to do a little trimming because we just fold and then we cut. Sometimes you need to do a little trimming. So the first thing I like to do before I put any of my pockets on is close everything up and see where it is hitting. So I can see you need to take a little bit more off this side. That's why I said like cut on the far side of your fold. So just take little slivers like that off until nothing hits. It's not going to ruin your pockets. It's going to be just fine. And I can see that the top flap also needs a little trim. So you may have to take little slivers here or there. It's not going to mess anything up. It's fine. In fact, there is no other way of doing this project where you're not going to have to take off those slivers as you go. You're folding, you're scoring. It's all very, imperfect, but you'd have 0 tolerance. Everything has to be very tight fitting. So just go through and make your little edits. It's perfectly fine. I'm just going to make a couple more if I can get my scissors lined up. Apparently I can't do that. Anyway, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to use the other pockets just to add interest. I can't get that one to go at the moment. It's because it needs to go this way. If you need help with this part, inking does really help with that, because you can see if there is still ink there, more than likely it's going to get caught and need to be trimmed. So now at this point it folds up really nicely. That's good. We just have a couple little slivers. Now I have another one that I made, and I made this one correctly. So this is the other one that I made. You can see it folds out. These are not glued in because I'm going to put these pieces in this paper. At least I think I am. So this one goes here. Then they fold out like this. You've got your little corner pockets. This one opens up. This guy is meant to go out here. He could also go on the inside down here too if you wanted. And then there's two for right there. So if I pull all those pieces out and I pop in these pieces, because it adds just that little bit of, niceness when you're using different pieces of paper. Everything is not the same. And then we have this butterfly one that could go down here, but on this one I kind of like it right here. Maybe I might do that. I'm not sure. Maybe we are going to put it on the inside. If we do put it on the inside, let's use it like this. So there's that. And that goes in there. Now you have to have these all glued in perfect so that they don't, overhang. Then this guy has its corner pocket. He needs this guy to go right out here. And then he folds in like that. To keep these closed, I can just use a little clip like this. You could use a tiny Tim Holtz clip. You could tie it with ribbon. You could put elastic on it. This also can be glued down to a journal page. So the back of it, you can just use as writing space, or you can glue it down to a journal page. I need a sip of water. Here's the journal page. If you were going to glue it down, you would glue it in the outside corner so that it could be used as a tuck back here, and then glue it down on a couple of sides so that it's a tuck. It would still continue to open out like this within a journal. So it can be glued down or it can go in a pocket. That's the video for today. I will finish gluing these and assembling these, and we will decorate these. And I think we are going to decorate these in the Friday Craft With Me this week. So I know you guys wanted a video on it. I thought about it. I really was going to do a part 2 video on decorating these. However, those kind of videos, like, a lot of people get upset about that because they feel like I'm cheating them because it's not really a whole new idea. So we did a whole new idea today, which is this guy, and we will finish decorating both of these, or all 6 of these, because there will be 6 by the time I'm done, on Friday's Craft With Me. So if you want to see the decorating process, the Craft With Me on Friday starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're just going to be making masterboards and ephemera for the botanical journals in preparation for starting the actual covers and stuff like that. All right, guys, I will let you go. Thank you so much for watching this rough video. Thank you guys for your love and support. I appreciate you guys. Thanks, and have a great day.